Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. It's good to be able to say buongiorno again after the Guten Tags from previous videos. We are now back in England, back in Newcastle. My God, you may be able to tell by the bags under my eyes. I'm ready for this international break. I'm ready for this week off. There'll still be videos coming, don't worry about that. But I tell you what, I am ready for a well-needed rest. I'm feeling like bloody Callum Wilson here. I'm absolutely knackered. Do you know what I mean? Oh, hey, I tell you what, it's not easy now. It's not easy work out now there and drinking loads of German beer and eating loads of German donuts. It's really not. The lack of sleep, the amount of steps, the terrible diet. It has well and truly caught up with us. I'm feeling shattered. I won't be down Bournemouth tomorrow, but there will be a match reaction, maybe a live one, straight after the game, and then I'm heading off to the boxing, so that's why I'm not down Bournemouth. I am doing some work, Sky Sports boxing event at the arena in Newcastle, so really looking forward to that as well, and hopefully before that I get to watch the Mags beat the Cherries. But we'll talk all about the Bournemouth preview. That's coming up very soon. There is a lot to get through in this video, to be fair. Eddie Howe's press conference, the fallout, the reaction to the news that came out a couple of days ago regarding Premier League shafting Newcastle yet again with these new imposed rules that are coming in. We'll talk all about that with the ban on loan deals and Saudi sponsorships and everything that they are trying to do. So we'll talk all about that as well. But before we do get into all that, this video is sponsored by Circle. I'm going to play a little video now so you can hear about Circle. We normally do the weekly show that's brought to you by Circle, the Toon Talk Live. But obviously I was actually had a play last night. The Purely Belter played Jerry and Sewell, that's on at Live Theatre for the next week or so. I was down there. What a show that is. If you get a chance to go and check them out, it's a fantastic show. It's obviously a modern twist on the Purely Belter film. There's a bit of the takeover in there. There's a bit of a shift between what happens in the film to what could happen nowadays. It's absolutely class. The stage, the setup is brilliant. The metro that's on there, honestly, it's a fantastic show. The lads that are running the show and lasses are super talented, and I really enjoyed it there. For someone that doesn't really go to the theatre, War Flags were there. Darren Eales was there as well, and it was a brilliant night. So I really enjoyed that one. And like I say, that is on at the Live Theatre on the Quayside for the next week or so. So I'd recommend getting tickets for that one. But enough of that. That's why the live show wasn't on. That's normally brought to you by Circle. So instead of me waffling some more, here's a nice little video from Circle themselves.
It's a fortune game for football fans. Here's how our new 5-match millions game works and how you can win. Let's get started. Pick your 5 numbers, one for each of our 5 chosen football matches. For each match, you must try and predict which will be the winning number at full time. We use live football action to make the circle spin. Some actions spin the circle right, others spin the circle left. Whatever number lands at the top at full time is the winning number. Good luck.
Here's the description for Circle, or scan that QR code. So, Eddie Howe's press conference this morning. Injury news, there's plenty of it to get through, but the title of the video will dive straight into that. Like I said, this came out on Wednesday. I was still thick of German beer at this point in Dortmund, so there was no chance I was doing a video on it then. And now, obviously, it's good to do it because Eddie Howe has been asked about it in the press conference today, and he did confirm interest in Rúben Neves. He has said that it is a player that Newcastle have watched and looked at in the past and would love to sign. And he was even asked, could he get him to press? Could he get him to suit Eddie Howe's style of playing system? And he said he could get anyone to do that. He thinks every player in the world is adaptable. So he does like Rúben Neves, but he wouldn't obviously go into it in too much detail considering he isn't one of our players. But will we be able to sign him? That's the big question. Do you know what I mean? Because it came out the other day that Premier League clubs are set to vote on banning Newcastle United in particular. It's all about Newcastle, this. The top 6, the big clubs, the Premier League, the agenda is rife. It is continuing to be there. It continues to get worse. And they continue to try their utmost to stop us breaking into that elite bracket that's been there for so many years of your Manchester Uniteds, your Chelseas, your Arsenals. We managed to do it last year, but they don't want us to do it again because we're looking at the Saudi League to try and help us with all our injuries. We've got 10 injuries at the minute. Obviously, the Sandro Tonali ban is a nightmare for us. He's out for the next 10 months. So we were eyeing up a potential move for the likes of a Rúben Neves from the Saudi Pro League where we could deal with them. But essentially, they're going to vote that it's going to be banned, that you can't do loan deals with clubs that are owned by the same people. This was never, ever a problem in the past where the likes of Frank Lampard joining Man City and New York City, and Arsenal have done it before with other clubs. Watford did it a lot in the past. It's happened so many times, but when it comes to the tune, little old Newcastle getting in the way of everyone, disrupting things, jumping into the Champions League way ahead of schedule. Oh, hey, let's just put a stop to this right now. We don't want this North East club doing any better or sustaining this success that we've been having in terms of cup finals and getting to the top 4 and stuff. No. We'll try and get rid of them. We'll try and stop that from happening. Spurs are on the rise again. Let's bring back in the London teams. We don't want the Geordies having any sort of entertaining success. So that's a joke. It's an absolute joke. You know, like I said, this has been happening for years, and all of a sudden, it's now a problem when Newcastle United want to solve a Tonali issue by bringing in Rúben Neves. It's because we can't sign players due to FFP. We can't go out and spend another 50 million on a midfielder because of financial fair play. So that's already blocking us. And now we can't even do a loan deal for a player from the Saudi league. So it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. In the Arteta voice, it's a disgrace. And it really is, man. How is it alright for everyone else to do it, but we can't do it? Joke. So it's obviously going to come in where we can't sign Neves on loan. Then if we're going to buy him, I'm not sure if we can even buy him, but then that would be a heavy price as well. They've just got him. They probably don't want to sell him. It's a shambles, really. It's shocking that this is coming into play. It's a disgrace. It really is. It winds me up. I think it's really bad crack. You could see Eddie Howe was getting frustrated with it. Not with the questions. The press conference is completely dominated, and there was a bit of a joke about people passing the baton, the journalists, and answering the question in a different way. But obviously Eddie can't come out and he said this. He said, I can't come out and be honest with these answers. I can't say exactly how I feel. And it's true, because he would be sitting here whinging just as much as I am now. I'm sure he would. I'm sure they feel hard done by. But listen, it's just what's going to happen now. We knew this was going to happen. I was surprised the Premier League even let the deal go through, the takeover, because of how many times they've denied and blocked the other ones. And now it's not just these loan signings that they're going to try and stop. It's also the sponsorships. Teams can vote in a couple of weeks' time in the Premier League to stop this. So obviously, how we've now got Saudi-sponsored Seller on our shirts, and we've got Noon. They're going to try and put a block to that as well. They're going to say that you can't have the same sponsorships from that same country, or the same state ownership, or the same owners. So they're trying to block every single way of us doing well, of us increasing our chances of being able to spend money and move up the league. They're trying their utmost. This is bonkers. How many years have teams been sponsored by their own companies and owners and things like that? Etihad at City obviously being the main one. There's so many you could rifle through, man. It's a joke. Absolute piss take, it really is. It's mental how they're doing all these things to try and stop us, like. And even though our Seller deal, 25 million a year, is way less than any of our top 6 competitors. Way less. So we are getting fair market value. We're not cheating the system. It's not like Seller have came in and offered us 100 million a year. And they're still trying. They're like, stifle them, settle them down. It's absolutely shocking, man. It really is. I could wind up and whinge for ages, but there's too much to talk about in this video, with it being the Bournemouth preview. Maybe we'll talk about it more next week in the international break. But let me know what you think in the comments below as well. So the injuries continue to mount for Eddie Howe. Obviously, before the Dortmund game, we know that Dan Burns going to be out for a couple of months. Jacob Murphy was knackered again. He's been confirmed to be out for 8 to 9 weeks. He's had keyhole surgery on his shoulder. And what else is there? Do you know what I mean? What else? Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson is a doubt for tomorrow's game. He's got a tightness of his hamstring, which is why he was forced off over there at the Signal at Duna Park. I think he'll be alright, Wilson, tomorrow. He's been called up to the England squad. That we could do another video on that. No Anthony Gordon, no Longstaff, no Lascelles, anything in the England squad. Maybe we'll do that next week, the international break. But yeah, Wilson is a doubt, but he's been called up to the squad. So that would suggest to me that Newcastle have communicated with Southgate in England that he is okay. So I expect Wilson to be at least on the bench for Bournemouth. Maybe to bring him on. Hopefully he starts though, otherwise it'll be Anthony Gordon up top again. The other striker we've got, also injured, Alexander Isak. However, he is set to come back after the international break, so that'll be good news in a couple of weeks' time. Harvey Barnes, is some other good news, is he's ahead of schedule. He's now running at the training ground, and he will be back next month. He's likely to be returning for a December date, so that is positive. But another negative is Sven Botman. Nobody knows what's going on with Sven Botman. Apparently he's in Holland now, seeing a specialist, so maybe we'll find out the extent of his injury soon. But as it stands, he's got no return date. So I am so pleased that Jamal Lascelles has massively stepped up, because he's been quality, to be fair to him. And Paul Dummett and Emil Kraft, you know, they really went above and beyond their levels. That's down to them and Eddie Howe's training, you know, but fair play to them, because if it wasn't for them really improving, then we would be absolutely knackered without Botman, because he was pivotal for us. He still is, but you know, at least these lads that have came in have really showed up, and long may that continue. And then obviously the other big blow for tomorrow is Bruno Guimaraes being suspended after picking up another booking at Arsenal. So he's out. The midfield will obviously likely be Joe Linton, Sean Longstaff and Joe Willock. You'd think so. Obviously Louis Miley became Newcastle United's youngest ever player in Europe against Dortmund the other day. Just 17 years old, man. Crazy talent. Really looking forward to seeing him develop over the years. So, Bournemouth away, 5:30, Sky Sports. 7 games unbeaten, Newcastle in the Premier League. We're flying there. We've struggled a bit in the Champions League to get them results, obviously against Dortmund, really. 2 defeats against them. Doing well in the Carabao Cup as well. Obviously, quarter-final coming up against Chelsea. And Bournemouth's ground is a happy one for Newcastle. We've never lost there in our 5 Premier League outings. Few draws and a couple of wins. So it's a good place for us to go. Although, like I said, we do draw there a lot. We drew there last season. It was an awful game. And we did have a few injuries then as well. And looking at Bournemouth now, though, they haven't looked great under their new manager. He was quite highly regarded, that manager that came in from Rayo Vallecano. You know, a high pressing, nice style of play. Took them high up the La Liga. That was quite unexpected. But he hasn't hit the ground running at Bournemouth. He got a big win last week. So he's kind of eased the pressure on him for now. However, though, that will still be building. But let's be honest, Bournemouth are where they expected to be in a relegation battle. And you look at their team, and I'm not being funny, I'm not being disrespectful, but even with our injuries, we've got to go there and get 3 points. We'll have to go there and get 3 points. We really do. If you want to be in the top 4, in the top 6, this is a ground you go to, and you have to. Well, I suppose you have to make sure you don't lose. But for me, you've got to be winning this. You do. We've already had a couple of games away from home where we should have got all 3 points, and we've ended up conceding late and drawing. Back-to-back 2-2 draws at West Ham and Wolves. So against Bournemouth, it's got to be a win. Let's get the win. Let's get 3 points. It's probably not going to be pretty. I don't think it'll be easy. I think it's quite an intimidating place, the Vitality. You're close to the pitch and everything. So it's not going to be an easy game, although I am tempted to go for a 4-1. Could Newcastle 4, Bournemouth 1? Maybe I'm being too optimistic there. I might still be feeling the effects of the German beer. I'll go 2-1. I'll go 2-1 Newcastle United. I think Gordon's going to shine in this one again and show Southgate why he should be picked. Not that it'll matter, because it's Southgate. I will talk more about that next week in the international break. Drop your score predictions in the comments below, people. Give this one a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel TV and enjoy yourself.